The nation is reeling from yet another shocking event that has reignited a fierce debate over law enforcement, accountability, and the limits of power. Last Saturday, Alex Pretti was shot and killed by a federal agent. The initial reports painted one picture, but the videos tell a very different story, a story that has sparked outrage across the country. Former President Barack Obama didn't stay silent. He took 2X to share a message that was both somber and urgent. He called Pretti's death a heartbreaking tragedy, but also a wake-up call. A wake-up call to every American, regardless of party affiliation, that some of the core values we hold as a nation are under siege. He didn't mince words. He reminded the nation that federal law enforcement and immigration agents have incredibly tough jobs. But he made it clear that Americans expect them to carry out their duties lawfully, with accountability, and in cooperation with state and local authorities, not in defiance of them. His message resonated. But it also drew a sharp contrast with the response from the former president, Donald Trump. While the country was grappling with the tragedy in Minneapolis, Trump's attention was elsewhere. He was focused on the White House ballroom, defending his orders to demolish parts of the East Wing and move forward with renovations. Trump's statements were loud, forceful, and dripping with frustration. He blamed obstructionists for trying to halt what he called a great, big, beautiful gift to the United States of America. But the timing, too many felt jarring. As protests erupted and questions mounted over Pretti's death, Trump was writing about architecture, lawsuits, and work stoppages. The juxtaposition is striking. On one hand, a nation mourning the loss of a life and demanding answers. On the other, a former president framing legal challenges as attacks on progress, as if the fate of the White House ballroom outweighed the outrage over the death of an American citizen. The story doesn't end there. Trump later turned his attention to Minnesota itself, accusing local leaders and Democrats of inciting insurrection and covering up massive financial fraud. He named Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey as the culprits, escalating tensions even further. But what does this really mean for the American people? It's a moment that exposes the deep fractures in trust, leadership, and accountability. It's a reminder that every statement, every action, and every omission carries weight. When leaders focus on their priorities, while tragedy strikes, citizens feel the divide, and that feeling can turn into anger, fear, or even mobilization. As we watch these events unfold, it's impossible not to wonder what will happen next. Will justice be served for Alex Pretti? Will federal agents face accountability? How will local leaders navigate the storm of criticism and national attention? And as the debates rage on, there's a lesson hidden in plain sight. Leadership is not just about grand gestures or defending one's legacy. It's about responsibility, empathy, and the ability to respond to crises with transparency and respect for the lives affected. When those qualities are absent, the consequences ripple far beyond the immediate moment. The questions remain. How do we hold those in power accountable? How do we ensure that tragedies like this do not repeat themselves? And, perhaps most importantly, how do we reconcile a nation that is watching, judging, and demanding answers, with leaders who are speaking past the crisis rather than into it? The outrage, the debate, and the legal battles are far from over. And as Americans, we must decide where we stand. Will we demand accountability? Will we insist that the law applies equally to everyone? Or will distraction and deflection continue to dominate the conversation while real lives hang in the balance? The story of Alex Pretti is more than a headline. It's a mirror reflecting the tensions in a country struggling with power, justice, and moral clarity. And as we follow the next chapters of this unfolding saga, one thing is certain: the eyes of the nation are watching. And history will not forget how leaders responded when the spotlight shone the brightest. So, as the debate rages, we ask you to stay informed, stay engaged, and demand clarity. Because in times like these, silence is complicity, and accountability is the only way forward.